First shots with the PDP Pro. Quick. Welcome back, everyone. We're out here in some pretty harsh lighting to discuss this guy right here. This is the Walther PDP Pro SD. So there's a lot of things going on with this gun. We have reviewed the PDPs previously here on the channel, which was essentially the next generation of the Walther P99, kind of bringing it into modern times, being a double stack striker fired gun. They make them in multiple sizes. This one here is the full size. They also make a compact version of this. And a lot of folks asked me to review this because of my previous Walther PDP reviews. I have some, good feelings about the PDPs in general. They've been very reliable guns for me, and this one offered some features that a lot of folks wanted, namely, of course, optics ready. With threaded barrel, has the ability to use a comp or a suppressor right out of the box, has 18 round mags, has this mag well that is removable if you want to remove it, but I would imagine most folks, particularly with the full size, are not going to be removing it. And it also has a fantastic trigger. Definitely in the race for one of the, if not the best triggers out there on the market for striker fired guns. It's also pretty affordable considering everything that you get. So today we're going to walk through it piece by piece. We're going to start butt and work our way to the tip like we were in the Navy. And then we're going to go over basically how it has shot, how reliable it's been, my impressions of it overall, would I use it for self-defense, all of those sorts of things. So with that, let's get into it. Before we continue, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is these folks right here over at satellitephoneStore.com. They sell the actual hardware, i.e. the thing I'm holding in my hand, as well as the plans to be able to communicate with them. Now, what is this? Many of you who are military veterans will recognize this as an Iridium phone. Normal people out there in the world will call it a satellite phone. So you can make phone calls, send SMS text messages anywhere in the world, as long as you have access to the outdoors where you can get a line of sight to the sky, you will be able to communicate with this phone. So whether you're in a super remote area in America, whether you're boating out in the ocean, or whether you're in a foreign country that doesn't recognize US cell plans, you will be able to make phone calls anywhere in the world with this device. And the kit that I picked up from Satellite Phone Store actually comes with this solar charger as well, sort of a bonus. You don't need to get that, but you can. Has these two USB ports here, so that way you can charge any of your USB accessories. Has these clips, so that way you could hang it from a backpack or over a balcony or something like that. But essentially, you just unfold it, and that exposes our solar panels there. And then, as you guys can see, we have that red LED light there, letting you know that power is coming in. You can take your phone, your Iridium phone, plug it in there, and in fact, it is charging right now. So that way we have signal anywhere in the world, and then of course power anywhere in the world, which is something that can come in handy in a number of situations. Thanks to the folks at Satellite Phone Store for sponsoring the video. There will be a link in the video description for you guys to head over there, pick one up, as well as choose the plan of your choice. One more thing before getting into it, this episode is going to be a Mug Club episode here on the channel. I figured that was fitting because Walther does sponsor Steven Crowder's channel. They do not sponsor this channel at all, just full disclosure on that. They did send the gun out for a review, but they don't get to see the video first. They didn't pay us anything, etc. So we're going to do the full review here on Rumble as well as YouTube. Then we're going to head over to Mug Club and do exclusive content, which we do once a week over there on Mug Club. There's a lot of other creators as well, Alex Jones, Brian Cowan, Nick DiPaolo, Hodge Twins, and others that make exclusive content in a censorship-free environment, which is always important, probably more important this year than most with what is likely coming. So over there this week, we're going to discuss some good news for folks who live in Washington State on their magazine ban, but then also kind of bad news as well. Kind of a prediction on what's going to come in the next week or so if you live over there in Washington State, and then we're going to answer viewer questions over there like we do every week. So, all right, that's it. Let's get into the gun. Before we get into the details on the gun, we are going to make sure that it is clear. So in order to do that, we're going to hit our magazine release button here and take out our magazine. Now this magazine is a standard capacity 18 round mag. It does have these aluminum base plates on there, a little bit different than what the standard PDP base plates would be, and it's cut in such a way to work with this mag well. So you guys can see there, we click it in, you still have the ability with that ledge that's on there to grip and rip it out should you have a double feed. So I do like that for sure. And the magazines themselves are made by Mekgar, which is nice. Getting into that mag well, Interesting design because obviously it has the interruptions there on the side for stripping the magazine, which is nice. But I do like the fact that it really gives you a place to line your grip up. So it does have interchangeable back straps, which is another feature. So I have the large one on there. And for me, it really is just a good index point to make sure that I'm high up on the trigger guard and also still barely touching that mag well. It has good funneling, so that way when you're going to reinsert it, you know that it's in there and it allows you to slam it home, which certainly is important. Now, again, making sure that we are clear. We are. We're going to continue on up. The grip texture of the PDP, very, very good. A lot of folks like them, myself included. It looks like almost stippled, but that is the way it is from the factory. And then on the front, it has that aggressive checkering, which really is important because the most important places for texture on a gun is going to be our back strap and the front strap, because under recoil, the gun is doing that. So those are the parts that allow you to essentially make it go back on target as fast as possible. Again, I have the large back strap on there, and that allows me a little bit more room to get both hands in there. And as you guys can see right now, it's a super hot day in Florida, so my hands are sweating. That grip texture does very well in those environments. It could be a touch more aggressive on the front if I had to critique it, but honestly, I'm not going to. It's very, very good. Continuing on up to our magazine release, as you guys can see from the factory, it's on the left side of the pistol, and it is reversible. So if you're left-handed and you want to swap it out to the other side, you can. The magazines, of course, are cut for both, but it's not ambidextrous. That is something I like. I've mentioned many times on the channel, I don't like ambi mag releases because if you're carrying the gun and you lean up against something on the outside, it could accidentally hit it, and then you have a one-shot gun until you figure out the problem, which is absolutely not what you want in a gunfight. And the reversible magazine release just allows the best of both worlds, in my opinion. One thing that's nice is that it is shrouded by the grip itself. So again, it's hard to accidentally bump it. If you just press in this area, you're not going to hit it. You have to intentionally hit that button to release the magazine, which I do like. Continuing on up, we do have a slight bit of a beaver tail to the back strap there. So that way, if you have large hands, highly unlikely you're going to get slide bite with this pistol. We also have an undercut there on the trigger guard, again, allowing you to get as high as possible on the gun, which I do dig. We also have some checkering up front for those of you guys that shoot with the finger like that. I don't shoot like that, but I know a lot of people do, and there are world champion shooters who do, so who am I to tell you not to do it? Continuing on up, we do have the slide lock and slide release button. It is ambidextrous. Lever, not button, I should say, so it works on both sides. It's actually functional on both sides, unlike some guns. Then we're going to move on to one of the crown jewels of this gun, the trigger. This is phenomenal. So this is the performance dynamic trigger. It's one that you can actually buy from Walther to drop in other guns, but this one, obviously it comes from the factory with it. We have our trigger safety there, and we have our flat aluminum shoe. And as you guys can see, it will not go back unless you press that trigger safety. And again, we'll just make sure we're clear, and we're going to press, and that's our wall. And we're going to press through. On my trigger gauge, it takes about 3.5 to 4 pounds to actually get to your break. And it's crisp as can be, and the reset, that's it. So when you're actually firing, very minimal input required on the trigger. It is absolutely in contention for one of the best striker fired triggers out there on the market. Anybody who's ever fired it comes away with that conclusion. It's simply phenomenal. Continuing on forward, we do have our 1913 rail. Several rail sections on there, again with the full size model. With the compact, you're going to have a little bit less, but we've been running TLR 1s, Surefire X300s, etc. throughout the review, and it obviously mounts up and holds on there just fine. Continuing on up to the slide, we do have these slide serrations up front. When I first saw these on the Walther guns, I was a little bit skeptical. I thought they might be, I guess, Gucci and just for design and not so much for function, but they are very much functional, as you guys can see on there. They could be a good surface to bite into with your hand. And of course, the slide and all the internal components that you guys are going to see that are black have a nitro carburized finish on there, and that is to give it good surface hardness, good corrosion resistance. It's just a very good treatment overall, and a lot of guns out there on the market are going to have a similar treatment because it works. Also gives it good lubricity, and parts wear tends to wear a lot slower with that finish on there. So continuing on back, obviously we have the optic plate on there. So it's optics ready from the factory. However, one thing that I think is kind of a lot of people are going to say is a con for this gun is that it doesn't come with a set of optics plates. You have to actually go on Walther's website, put in your serial number, and then pick the plate that you want. They offer a number of different plates for a number of different optics. This one obviously is the RMR plate, and we have the RCR optic on there. Now, for a plate system, the Gen 2 Walther plate system is very, very good. Their Gen 1s had some issues in terms of not having a lot of lug engagements. I've gone over that in detail in previous videos. If you're interested, check it out. But the Gen 2, it's excellent. It's a steel plate, which is nice. It engages really well with the slide, and then of course, a number of different optics that are available, RCR included. Now we're gonna get to a con on this gun, and that is going to be the sights from the factory. So from the factory, it comes with polymer sights. The rear sight is adjustable. They're 3-dot. Number one, I don't like 3-dot sights. Generally speaking, I prefer a blacked out rear. I'm okay with 3-dot, but I'm not okay with polymer. They are Glock pattern, which is a Pro. So any type of sighting system that you want out there on the market is going to be available for this gun, because it's literally the exact same sights that Glock takes. And we put our XS sights on there. Phenomenal sights. Steel, obviously they've been beaten up during the drop testing that we've done on this optic, and they're still going strong. We have that tritium insert up front, and again, just the serrated square notch rear. It definitely is a very good sight picture, and of course you also have the optics, so a lot of different ways to back up what you're actually seeing when firing the gun. Now we're going to get into disassembly. It's pretty simple, but with a threaded barrel, if you guys didn't know out there, you generally speaking have to remove your thread protector. So there is no O-ring on there, so just know that if you guys are firing this a lot, you really want to make sure that you keep track of your thread protector. Again, we're going to point in a safe direction, pull the trigger, pull down here slightly on this tab. On both sides, it comes right off. Take a look inside there. Excellent machining, as you would imagine, from Walther. Now, we're going to get into something that I'm going to discuss here a little bit later on. The gun comes with 2 springs. This is the one that they send out for use when suppressed. Once we started shooting this gun suppressed, I just left it in there. And again, we'll get back to this spring here in just a second, and then take out our barrel. It is a 5.1-inch barrel. Obviously, it has all the fancy German proof marks on there that you would expect from a German gun. You can see they're very smooth feed ramp. We've had no issues with hollow points or any type of other weird shaped ammo. And again, just get a look in there. You'll see very, very good machining, lots of nitrided parts, and a lot of things like our striker back here are smoothed out. The same is true with the striker safety. It's highly polished. That's one of the things that helps give you such a good trigger pull overall. And then reassembly is the exact same, just in the opposite order. Now for a quick size comparison, we have the Glock 49 MOS here, and then obviously our Walther. This is a compact frame with their full-size slide. Kind of a weird gun, but it is what it is. And I know there's some of you out there who have probably never seen the Walther PDPs in person, so it'll give you a good idea of how they stack up compared to a standard Glock. A little bit wider there, as you guys can see. On this particular comparison, you have to think of this being like a Glock 17 slide. So that's how it stacks up in terms of length overall. And then of course you guys can see the grip. Again, this is a G19 size grip. And then one thing we want to talk about real quick here is going to be bore access. A lot of people on the internet say bore access doesn't matter. I say it does matter. Obviously the Walther's is a little bit higher than the Glock, but Glock is one of the lowest bore access pistols on the market. So that, you know, there is that, but the PDP is going to have a little bit more snap to it, all things being equal, than a Glock will. That said, Walther does a good job, particularly on their newer PDPs, of balancing out the slide weight, so that way it returns to your target very quickly, your sights do. So it definitely has a little bit more snap than something like a Glock equivalent weight, but it does return to the target quickly and tracks well. With all the up close and personal details out of the way, there's a few things we have to talk about here before we close this video out. First is going to be reliability. So if I was to have filmed this like a week ago, I would be telling you this gun's been 100% reliable, suppressed, unsuppressed, etc. Just so folks know, when we were firing this suppressed, that is a resilient can. I have a full review of it if you're interested in it, and we were using their Nielsen device with it. And again, 100% reliable, suppressed, mostly using Minuteman munitions, 115 grain as well as 147 grain through that. Again, zero issues of any kind. Again, big thanks to folks at Minuteman munitions for supplying the 9mm here on the channel for almost 10 years now. So it's a lot of ammo, and we appreciate it. But yeah, so with me firing this gun, 100% reliable. Like I said, we left that recoil spring in there, which is a heavier recoil spring. Me firing it with my grip, everything like that, no issues at all. I handed this gun off to my wife, and we were using 115 grain ammo, so that probably didn't help in this equation. Additionally, the gun was as dirty as it has ever been, and as not well lubed as it has ever been. Handed it to my wife, and she had malfunctions. She was having limp wrist malfunctions, and basically I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I think it was a combination of the heavier spring being in there, a combination of limp wristing, and a combination of 115 grain practice ammunition. So just know that I've watched several other channels that have had female shooters on it, including Honest Outlaw, where his wife was shooting this, no issues at all. So I do think it was just a lot of things, a compounding of errors, if you will, that went into her not being able to run it. I grabbed the gun from her. I'm not sure if I have this on camera or not, but I grabbed the gun from her just to verify that it was, limp wrist malfunctions, and I emptied the mag with no reliability issues of any kind. So I just want to, point out that always check those things, right? There are certain guns that certain people will have issues with. Obviously, again, I think it's a combination of everything with this particular case. So reliability with me through over about 800 rounds, 100% reliable. Reliable with my wife with this combination, not reliable. So take that for what it's worth. Accuracy, very good. Walther's, all the PDPs have been very good. And as we were talking about downstairs with the shooting impressions, it definitely does have a little bit more snap than some other guns. That said, man, they're still nice to shoot. They're so nice to shoot. Very, very good shooting guns, pleasant, excellent ergonomics. Ergonomics are honestly some of the better on the market. It just feels good in your hand. I think the grip helps, but everything else that we went over also helps with that. And the actual cost on this, for what you get, in my opinion, is pretty darn good. Like I think I said in the intro, a lot of people are saying that this, as well as the compact, are like the perfect do-all guns, particularly in the case of the compact, because it lends itself to concealed carry. But these guns really are good range guns. They're fun to shoot. That trigger is excellent. I mean, it makes accuracy, practical accuracy, so much better. Has good capacity, has the ability to add lights, lasers, optics, all of that stuff. Glock, sight compatibility. Gun's got a lot going on for it. And compared to anything else on the market that's going to give you this type of known brand, known entity that the PDP does, it's one of the better priced ones out there. I think the actual MSRP on their site is going to be $899 if I remember correctly. But if you guys follow me on all my social medias, or if you're signed up for my daily deals email, you'll know that you can get the street price much less than that, generally speaking $700 and under. So for a gun that costs very similar to what the Glock MOS series costs in terms of real world price point, if it was up to me and I had to pick one of these two, just as an example, like a Glock MOS versus a Walther PDP, and I had never shot Glocks because I'm biased. I've shot more rounds through Glocks than any other pistol by far. I would absolutely go with this gun. I would say that the vast majority of shooters out there will shoot this gun better due to all the things that we talked about during this video. So I think it's a value-packed gun. It's not cheap, but I think it is a lot of gun for the money. Now, that brings me to the next Walther. Because I was talking about this on my social media, you guys asked me to get the steel frame in, so that will be the next one, so stay tuned for that. But with that, guys, we're going to close the video out here. That's pretty much everything I know about this gun, my experience with it. If you guys have experience with this gun or the compact model, definitely let us know down below in the comment section. If you guys like this video and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe video, because we do videos like this 2 to 4 times a week. And if you guys aren't seeing 2 to 4 videos and you are subscribed and you have hit that notification bell, make sure you're signed up for my email at the websites here on your screen. This email goes out once a month, and it has all the videos since the previous month's email in there, so that way you guys aren't being censored by an algorithm from my content, because there's a lot of you guys that say that. They say, I haven't seen your videos, are you still posting? Yes, every week, 2 to 4 times. I promise, they're there. But that email goes out once a month. It's not super spammy, nothing like that. Also, check out that website. We just redid it. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. Maybe something like this, maybe not. We'll see. Head over there and check it out. Additionally, if you guys like the deals, sign up for the daily deals email that we were just talking about. It goes out every day. It has 8 of the best deals that we find around the internet. If the item is in that email on that particular day, it's the cheapest I know of anywhere on the internet for that particular item. So that way it saves you guys some time, because I've already done the looking, the price comparisons for you, and saves you some money. There's also a good meme in there that everyone likes. And with that, we're going to close it out here on Rumble and YouTube, and we're going to head over to Mug Club, talk about some good news for some folks, and maybe some bad news. But with that, we'll see you guys over on Mug Club.